What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Forge Sports Media Podcast. This is episode 27. My name's Trey.
My name is Thomas.
And we've got a good one for you guys. We're going to hit our first disc golf power rankings of the season, the power rankings of disc golf.
We know that everybody else gets them wrong most of the time, and so we're going to hit you with something that actually matters and is actually right.
Absolutely. We will also do a recap of the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship. We'll do a preview for the Texas State's Disc Golf Championship. And then we'll finish up with a mid-season sponsorship.
Is there
sponsorships?
One of the other. Let's run straight into it. We're going to hit you with the power rankings. We're going to do both an MPO and an FPO power rankings. For the MPO, we're going to do top 15. For FPO, we're going to do top 10. It typically just goes based on the amount of competition, the amount of people playing. Typically, an FPO field is a little less than half of that of an MPO crowd, but we definitely want to get more than half of that on the FPO power ranking side. Trey and I spent some time running through a grouping of gut feeling, actual event data thus far, and we are through 3 MPO events thus far. We're through the Chess.com Invitational, through the Waco. I guess it's just Prodigy Presents Waco.
Yep.
And then the Open at Austin. And so those are going to be the 3 events there. The power rankings for the FPO side will also include the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, the first major of the FPO season. And let's get straight into it. Trey, let's go back and forth right here. Little commentary, but you start off with number, do you want to go number 15?
Yeah,
down on the list?
We'll work our way up. And if we definitely had some discussion. And so as we come to points where it was relatively close or we went a little bit back and forth, we'll flesh that out and get ready for some shockers here.
Oh, yeah.
But coming in at number 15 on the MPO side is one of the most consistent players on tour for the last 5 years. His name's Andrew Presnell. Andrew, in 2023, was taken off the elite team for Discraft and placed on the touring team and on the Ledgestone team. And that seemed to light a fire under Andrew. He won a silver event last year, was competitive in several different events, and this year has just been the epitome of consistency. There hasn't been the big finish yet, but based on the way that he is playing up into this point, it's only a matter of time. He's just been so consistent. He's been right there. The competition has been so close and stiff this year that, I mean, a few more strokes moves his 20th place finish to a top 10 to a top 5. So Prez is playing awesome. I think we should expect even better things from him upcoming.
Definitely. Coming in at number 14, we've got Aaron Gossage, somebody who definitely showed some strides of greatness in 2023, a few opportunities that just slipped out of his hand throughout the season, and I think this season he's ready to show a little bit more consistency on the early onset, and hopefully we'll see him, really get some strong finishes as we push kind of towards the mid-season, a few events down the line.
Yeah, the mid-season events definitely help him out because the courses play more to his strengths. He's a little more flip-flopped, whereas Presnell's been more consistent, but we gave Gossage the advantage with some top 10 finishes.
Yep.
Coming in at 13, we've got your favorite disc golfer's favorite disc golfer, Matteo.
Matthew Oram. What a guy.
Man, watching him play at the Open in Austin, his fan reaction was like no other. People love Matteo, period. And he shows it on the course. He's had one event where he struggled a bit, but then the other 2 events have been really, really strong, and we kind of expect him to climb these rankings. Mm-hmm. But right now, we're 3 events in, he's landed in the 13th slot.
Here we go. There we go. I was looking for this. I was looking for the finishes right here. So Matteo had 6th at the Chess.com Invitational, 45th at Waco, which was his bad finish, and then finished 9th at the Open at Austin. So he had 2 top 10 finishes and a 45th.
So that 45th is holding him back, obviously, from being a top 10 in the top 10 positions, but 2 podiums cannot keep him out of the top 15. So
Bingo.
that's where we're at. So who do we have at number 12?
We got Jakub Semirad at number 12. He's just been playing very consistent. Trey and I went a little back and forth on the fact that he hasn't necessarily had a super good finish, but he's played probably more consistently than a lot of people out here. He had a 17th finish at Chess, a 15th finish at Waco, and a 16th finish at Austin. I mean, what's he going to do here at Texas State? Probably 13th.
Somewhere in there. You have to think maybe even better. But the thing about Jakub this year is it's now his second year playing on more of the full tour. And so he's adjusted to travel. You know, it was his first year doing a ton of travel last season. And we already knew he was a great player. He had a great battle in 2022, with Greg Barsby at PCS Sula. And now to see him 2 years later really just playing incredibly consistent golf. It's exciting. Another great European player making his mark on tour.
Yeah, so coming in, we've got number 11. We've got Joseph Anderson right here.
Joey Buckets. I mean, he's just been the biggest splash in disc golf this year.
Yeah.
No one saw Joey Anderson doing what he's done. Thomas, I know you got the finishes there.
Yeah, he's a 9th, a 27th, and a 12th.
I'm going to be honest. I did not know who Joseph Anderson was.
I don't think most of us necessarily did. You may have heard of him from like an event maybe, but I did not either.
I didn't, and I pride myself on knowing a lot about disc golf. I had no idea who he was, and he is the best player you've never heard of.
Definitely.
But now you've heard of it.
Yeah, so number 10, Trey?
Yeah, we got Cole Redallen bringing our first spot in the top 10. Cole Redallen, Ledgestone's winner from last season, has had a little bit of an up and down.
Yeah, it started off a little bit slower in comparison for what you would expect out of Cole. A 26th finish at Chess, a 15th at Waco, and a 6th at Austin. So he's been pulling his way a little bit closer to really finishing on like a podium, potentially snagging a win. I think he's got everything in him to do it. He proved it last season, and we would love to see it happen.
Absolutely.
I think we definitely have to talk about our number 9 on this list right here. And this is, I think, maybe everybody's favorite thus far is Luke Humphreys.
Man, the dude knows how to play disc golf in Texas, does he not?
Oh, it's just insane. So, I mean, you almost saw him take down Waco. I mean, absolute tragic ending there for him. Really, Gannon did not necessarily win as much as Luke Humphreys lost that event.
That is true. And he has solid finishes otherwise. And so with that second place finish and with one more event in Texas, we expect Luke to do well. Now, the question for us is, can he continue this?
Yeah.
In the past, he has not been able to continue the success outside of Texas.
Right.
But we are hopeful that he will continue this season. And it seems like he's got every shot in the book. So we're hopeful that Luke remains in our top 10.
Yeah, so here at our 8 and 7 was kind of a little bit of an impasse for us, but I think we landed properly, is that at number 8, we've got Adam Hammes.
Yeah, another similar to both Jakub and Presnell. He has one top 10.
Yeah, he finished 10th at Waco.
But he's been consistent. 17th finish, 14th place, and then the top 10 at Waco. He has been just steady. He's been steady each event, showing out, making some money.
Right.
And it's one of these things where it's like, you never know when Adam Hammes will just pop off, because his athletic ability is hard to match. The dude has crazy distance.
Yes.
Maybe the most underrated distance thrower in golf. Let's be real. He's incredible.
Oh, he's just got a very smooth forehand, very robotic in a sense, but it's just consistent. I mean, everybody saw him snag the ace last year.
Oh, man.
Quick little zone forehand.
That's
tee.
his shot. That he owns the zone forehand.
Yeah. So rolling quickly into our number 7. This is who we went a little back and forth on. Very close to Adam. Very close in placement overall, but just a little bit edging out. We've got Chris Dickerson at number 7. The reason here being is that Chris Dickerson had 2 top finishes, whereas Adam only has 1, and Adams was a 10. Chris went 28, 6, 9, Chess, Waco, Austin right there. And though his worst finish was a little bit worse, 2 really solid finishes, and actually being further under par than Adam Hammes was. I think this is what really made both of us both agree, okay, let's put Chris right over the top. You know, he was a major winner a couple of years ago, and so we'd like to see him come back and potentially win another one.
Yeah, 2023 was not like the season that we expected out of Chris Dickerson, but he's coming out strong this year, so we're looking forward to seeing what he brings in 2024.
Bingo.
Now, coming at number 6, we've been talking about guys with consistency. Outside the top, few players that we'll talk about later, no one has been more consistent than Ezra Robinson.
That is correct. I mean, it's
go ahead.
You say outside the top 5.
Outside the top 5, but also completely and utterly outplaying his brother Isaac this year.
Yeah, which is insane. I mean, if you're not aware, there are a couple of people we haven't listed off in this list thus far, and there are people that I would think if you've been following disc golf, probably wouldn't anticipate that we would be putting this high up the list. His brother Isaac being one of those that you would argue could have been a 1 last year.
Yeah, I mean,
power ranking wise, he was a number 1 last year.
At a point, yes. And so, and spoiler, he's not in our top 15. And
with Ezra going 16, 7, 12 right there, I mean, he's playing absolutely crazy. He's just as far as Chris Dickerson is, but outplaying just a little bit on the consistency end. Chris having that 28th finish. Ezra's just a little bit outpacing Chris. And so leading in from there is that we've actually got our first person this low on the list that actually on this list at all that's only played 2 events.
Correct.
But we've got Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, we went back and forth on this a little bit, considering that the season has been, we're 3 events in. How much do we weight the fact that Ricky missed an event? And we did weight it.
We weighted it very heavily, honestly. And yet Ricky stayed at this spot on our list, regardless of what we were weighting it on. And so I think it's hard not to want to put Ricky up here when he finished 2nd at the Chess.com Invitational, finished 10th at Waco. Because of, I think, injury, he wasn't able to play in Austin. And it was this time last year that he had the Lyme disease flare kind of come back. He kind of had that a little bit during the 2022 season, but then, I guess right as the 2022 season ended, we thought he was going to be able to play, had to sit out several events on the first bit of the season.
Correct.
It's nice to see him playing the first quarter of the season right now. So I'm excited to see what he can do, but I mean, Ricky's killer in.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way we could keep him out of the top 5. Now, coming in at number 4, the best player who hasn't won an event this year, Kyle Klein.
Yep.
The dude has just been right there. We've got him at a 9th at chess.
Or now a 5th at chess, a 7
at Waco, and
a 2 at Austin.
So he is on the fringe, and this is what Kyle does every year. He shows up, shows out. He in some ways was kind of like the third Crush Boy.
Yeah.
When he was teammates with Eagle and Simon. But let's be real. Kyle was the most consistent out of those 3.
Yeah.
Eagle had his injuries. Simon had his ups and downs. He's kind of course dependent at times. But Kyle shows up every single week.
Yeah.
And you can always rely on him for a top 15 finish. And most of the time, he's going to grab a top 10.
I really do think he's the most, I'm going to say, underrated top player. I think there's a lot of people that know Kyle Klein and understand that he can play really well. But if they're looking at an event prior, they're not thinking that heavily of Kyle Klein. And he can come out there and absolutely crush it any given weekend. Won Waco last year. I'd love to see him come through and win another event.
There's no doubt in my mind that he will. It's just a matter of when, not if, in my opinion.
So, number 3 right here. Trey actually called this one for the prior event leading into it in our picks. But these were all very close. But at number 3, we're going to put Niklas Antila, who is your Open at Austin champion this year. The reason being is that he had a 9th finish at chess.com, but it's really hard when you go 9-1 to be like, oh, that's a bad finish. He's playing insane.
He is playing out of his mind. It's amazing to see Niklas finally get that win. He was probably, coming into the season, probably the second person you were thinking about that could get their first tour win this year.
Right.
And so He gets it done in the third event of the year. He's been so close so many times. Even this season, he was close. You know, going into Waco, he had a real chance of winning that event.
Yep.
Winds up finishing second.
Yep.
But then comes out at Open at Austin, takes care of business, gets the dub.
I like to make a note that if you were watching coverage, I mean, obviously I can't necessarily play a replay right here, but it was dark at the end of that round. And you would actually think by watching it, if you weren't paying attention all the way through, they would show a few clips here and there of what it actually looked like outside versus what the lens was doing to show additional light. But Niklas sunk the putt to win that event almost in pitch black.
It was absolutely insane. He had the clutch factor that some people wondered if he even had. And
you know, he's been in a lot of really tough circumstances, almost won USDGC. Like, he's got a lot going for him, and I think he's set up for a really good season. But now, let's talk about somebody who finally took it down. Our number 2, Anthony Barela, taking your Chess.com Invitational Open to start off the season and be somebody who everybody knows, like, you've got, like, a chip on your shoulder. Like, it's time for you to take down a win. Can you actually handle the pressure? And he can.
yeah, he's been known as the disc golfer with the most upside, the most athletic disc golfer, the guy who is the most talented. He wants to cement himself not just as the most talented, not just as the most athletic. He wants to be the best disc golfer, and he is dang close to it.
He is. I mean, he's taken down a distance competition already. I mean, like, dude is absolutely shredded. And, like, he's set up for a really good season if he keeps going. But a 1, a 4, and a 4 placement-wise on the season.
What's really scary is the courses that they've played. Open at Austin had obviously some more open holes, but it was pretty technical for a ball golf course.
Yes.
But Waco and Chess.com, pretty wooded courses.
The Chess.com Invitational over there, like the, I guess Olympus disc golf course.
Yes.
That's a tough course. That's no just like, open, easy golf out there. And for him to take down that of all events, I think gave him the most confidence he could have gotten out of winning pretty much any other event.
It's scary how good he's playing in the woods right now, because when they get out in the open,
you can shred it.
And
so,
he'll watch out.
Trey, who do we have? Number 1.
I don't think there's any surprise here. Gannon Buhr takes the top spot. He is our number 1 player in the first Forge Sports Media Power Rankings of 2024. He has the same finishes as Barela, 2 fourth places, and then the win at Waco. Mm-hmm. We give Gannon the edge based on a handful of things. Mainly, when it's this close, you kind of have to look at a full body of work and even look a little bit into last season. Gannon, a multiple-time winner last season. This didn't really factor in a ton, but they were both at the Memorial Championship. Gannon did take that down.
Yeah. I mean, Gannon also in the same stretch of 3 events is 2 extra strokes under par. So if we're even just looking at these 3 events, I mean, you could look there and say, Gannon has played a little bit better. And so I'd be curious to maybe look at some of the round ratings, even though we don't entirely agree with the rating system overall. I mean, it is the greatest rating system ever created. But we've got Gannon here. Well, I guess the best ever created is our power ranking system.
Correct.
So, but that's our top 15 right there for the MPO. Let's go straight into the FPO real quick. Do you want to...
Yeah, I can get us started. In the 10 slot, we have 2023 Jonesboro winner, Kat Mersch.
Yep.
And Kat has not had this, the start that I necessarily expected her to have. I kind of expected her to make a jump this year and be in the top 5 conversation kind of on a regular basis. And that just, over the last 4 events really hasn't necessarily been the case. What were her finishes, Tom?
She had a 10, a 16, a 4, and a 21 at U.S. Women, since that's included here.
So while that's good enough for her to snag the top 10 spot, we kind of think this has been a slow start for her based on her potential.
Yeah, and I really do think another thing worth noting is when you're comparing, say, some of the MPO and FPO finishes, if we're just looking at the top 10, you're going to see a little bit more variance in the ups and downs on the FPO side. And I think Kat Mersch has played relatively consistently, but Finishing 16th is not the same as finishing 16th in an MPO event. You've got really 40 players in most of these events, and so it's a much shorter list. And so I would expect you to be sub 10 on multiple of these events to get much higher up on there.
Correct. That's a good reminder for everyone. The placements here are gonna seem a little bit different than what we had on MPO. So just keep that in mind as we go through. But
coming in at number 9, we've got Valerie Mondafano. And now this is where you start to peek a little bit into, why you're not a 10 or outside. Val went 27th, a little bit of a tough start at chess, but went 11-9-3 at the major there. Very solid way to progress through the season. And so I'm really impressed to see that push up as the season progresses there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it and you look at how consistent Val Mondahano has been over her career, that 27, I think once we get more and more into the season, is going to look way, way more like an outlier. I think we're going to see her continue to get top 10s and top 5s and probably, be contention on Sunday for wins multiple times this year.
Yeah. Number 8, there's one of our 2 players on this list that's only played 3 events. Who do we have, Trey?
We've got Heidi Lena. I hope I pronounced that at least okay.
Did not play in chess.
She did not. She didn't travel over yet for that event, but she has played the last 3.
With 15-9-5 from Waco, Austin, and U.S. Women's. And so 5th place at the major is a very solid finish. I don't think you could ask for much more to start, given that she hasn't historically been one of these top 5 disc golfers. I think she's playing very well.
She showed up here and there, and she gets the edge over Val Mondahano. That is one of the placements that we talked about, was this 8-9 spot. Just more consistent finishes over the last 3 events.
Yeah.
So she gets the edge there.
Number 7, we've got somebody that's still trying to hunt down their first win. Did not get it done at Waco last year. We've got Ella Hansen, who actually did start off the season hunting for it and came 2nd at the Chess.com Invitational.
Yep.
6th at Waco, 19th at Austin, and 8th place finish at U.S. Women's. And so she's got everything in the bag that she needs. She's got incredible distance. It's just that she really needs to learn to finish an event.
Yeah, and the big blow-up holes seem to be the downfall of Ella Hansen. She gets in these spots where she's playing incredible. She's a solid putter too. Her putting, I think her putting might be a little underrated. She will miss a couple of short putts here and there, but generally speaking, does pretty well. But if she can avoid the OB strokes, because she finds herself out of bounds,
right?
And if she can avoid the blow-up hole, I think she has every skill in the book to pick up a win this year.
Exactly. Number 6, we've got Holland Handley. Now we're pushing into some of those maybe more firmly set potential top 5 type names, and Holland Handley is right outside of that. And she's had some really good finishes, going 3-3, 16, 10. 3 at Chess and Waco is a very solid start to your season. Just needed to pull in some of these more recent finishes. You've got some people above you that are playing a little bit more consistent. And she's been really locking it down more recently. So I'll be very excited to see what she can do the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Coming in at number 5 is Henna Blomroos. Now, this is a player who, if she figures out how to putt, the whole field needs to watch out.
Yeah.
She might be the most talented with distance and distance control and just one of the best throwers on the FPO side of the game, period. She can't putt.
Right.
It's bad. And so I think as the season progresses, I think she will improve, hopefully. And if she does, she will win.
Right.
That is the one thing that is missing, and it's a big thing. But if she fixes that, she will be moving up in our rankings and moving quickly.
Definitely. At number 4, we've got Missy Gannon. Now, this one may be a little controversial because she just took down her first major. But you've got a lot of people above her on this list that have taken down a win, have played just slightly more consistently, even at the same event that she just won. You'd be surprised maybe to say number 4, but I feel pretty confident with putting her right there. Her worst finish being Waco at 9th. I think some people above her have played a little bit better, especially having played very similar at U.S. Women's. And so I think it's a solid spot for her. She played a really good season. U.S. Women's just end-to-end ran the show.
Yeah, we'll just say this really quickly. The top 4 is incredibly close.
Right.
And if one of the top 4 players wins another event,
They would be number one.
they would more than likely be number 1. Exactly.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that any of these top 4 would not be number one next week if they got one and everybody else went 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think so. And so with Missy at 4, we'll take the chess.com champion, Evelina Salonen, at number 3.
Playing so consistent.
So consistent. And the exciting thing to see is the putting woes are lessening and lessening. Yeah, she makes a mistake here and there, but I don't have the stats pulled up, but her C1X putting is so much better than it was last season. And that showed in that, I mean, I'll say dominant victory at chess.com.
Right.
The scores may have not shown it, but the victory, the way that she played hole 18, taking the not risky shot, but it's her shot, like distance uphill shot, being able to get herself in position for eagle and then be able to lay up to get the birdie on the last hole to secure the win was super exciting. And I was extremely happy for Evelina to get over the hump there, get her win. I think it's the first one since 2020 Waco or something like that. And so, and she's played great the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, she went 1-4-8 too. You can't really downplay that at all. That's just a solid way to play the season thus far. At number 2, Kristen Tatar.
That's right.
We're not putting Kristen at number 1. We feel pretty confident about this decision right here. Kristen did not play the Chess.com Invitational and went 1-2-6 at Waco, Austin, and U.S. Women's. That's awesome disc golf. 2 is an insane spot to be at. But I think 3 events in, I think it's fair to say that Owen Scoggins is number 1.
Get owned, Kristen. Owen Scoggins could be playing every event in FP40. Let's just be clear. She's over the age of 40. And
Owen went 7-2-1-4. Beat Kristen at U.S. Women's. Beat Kristen at Austin for the win. Was second place at Waco. Was 7th at the one event Kristen didn't play at. I have a hard time saying that Kristen should be ahead when it's that tight of a race, and Kristen did not play in the Chess.com Invitational.
And Owen's beat her twice now.
Right.
Like, there is no... I don't care what you say. I don't care what happened last year. Owen is the best disc golfer at FPO right now.
Yeah.
It cannot be argued.
No, I agree completely. And so that wraps up our power rankings right there. Definitely leave a comment on what you think, especially in this topic, anything else. If there's somebody you think we missed across the board in our rankings, let us know. Let's talk U.S. women's disc golf real quick. This first major of the year, though, one might say it's a little bit too early in the year.
Yeah, it seems a little early for a major.
I mean, they typically play it like a week or two prior to Throw Pink. Just before like the normal U.S. Disc Golf Championship for the NPO field, and Throw Pink happens at the same location.
Which is
Winthrop.
Which is a Winthrop, and let's be real, is the real U.S. women's in our opinion. Now that being said, from everything that I saw, read, and watched, this was an extremely well-run event and a very, very well-maintained course.
Mm-hmm.
This course played fantastic, looked great on coverage. I was very impressed. Shout out to Mint Discs and the work that they're doing out on that course. It was an excellent event.
But Missy really just ran this event the whole way. I mean, honestly, everybody else was, I think Missy was up by 1 stroke at the end of one round, or at the end of round 1, was up by like a couple strokes at the end of round 2, but only played 1 under par. And so everybody else was falling a little bit behind, was like maybe 4 strokes ahead after round 3. I don't have it right in front of me, and then round 4 was just crushing the competition.
Yeah, it was just a steady tournament, wire to wire, living up to the name Big Money Missy. She gets it done, gets her first major of her career, which is kind of surprising that it was her first. But we expect big things out of Missy Gannon. I think most disc golf fans do. And so to see her take it down in this way, beating Kristen, beating some great players, beating Owen, the best player in FPL, was just really exciting. It is good for the sport to have parity. Let's be clear on that. It's nice to have a season or two where Kristen is dominant and she's winning a bunch of events. She wins the Grand Slam. Great. That's great for a couple of years. But for the sport to grow, you need to see that it's competitive.
Right.
And FPO has kind of gone through eras of dominance, whether it's Paige and Katrina Allen, whether it's Juliana Korver, Valerie Jenkins, Des Redding. All these ladies dominated their sport in their time. And now we have 4 players that have a legitimate argument to be the number one player in FPO. That is good for the sport.
It is. And shout out to Missy for taking down $12,000 at the Western Women's. That's a nice take home. Evelina took home 72, Valerie at 54, and so on.
Nice.
So very, very good paycheck to take home for that. But we're excited for Missy. It's really fun to watch her play disc golf. Like, super, like, kind person to watch overall. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you could have asked for, like, a better time for somebody like her to, like, take it down. I feel like he's been playing very good recently.
Were there any surprises to you, Thomas, on some of the finishes here? Like,
well, I think, honestly, my surprise is that, like, you could play +2 in the last round and still win by 5 strokes.
I mean, the course was playing really tough. I mean, some of the scores were...
Yeah, I mean, that...
Like, she had a couple of really great rounds, but then she was kind of able to coast that last round and secure the dub.
Definitely. I mean, Heidi Lane has definitely been playing really good. We talked about that earlier. It's just that she's been playing really solid in comparison to the past. It looks like Synanda started off well, went back down to 14th place.
It was Jordan Lintz, a younger player, newer player on tour, on the team Discraft. I think she's on the tour.
That is correct.
She's on the tour team, taking 7th place at a major. That's really exciting. I mean,
very good.
Good for her. I think Paige really struggled.
I don't believe it was a very good finish. I'm still going down 28th place.
Shout out to Macy Vela Diaz playing pregnant and still coming in 28th.
Tying with Paige Pierce, but pregnant.
It's pretty damn impressive.
So
now we will jump in to Texas State.
We're going to give our preview picks across the board. We won't talk much about what exactly is going on with the event, other than this year that it's an elite event and not a silver event.
So it was elite in 22, silver last year, and then now an elite again.
Which I'm happy that we're not doing this whole like silver shindig.
Yeah, there's the Q Series, which is really cool. I think that's what silver events should have been all.
It's like the Corn Ferry Tour for the PGA. If you watch much, I mean, the idea of being able to like qualify for a tour card is a really cool concept, and that's how you should be able to progress into actually playing on these. And it is fun to still be able to, like every event on the PGA Tour, you've got a qualifying event to play that event, so you can show up and try to play it. It's not that it's exclusive; it's that you have to qualify each event. But you also have like a separate tour as well, which is nice.
Yeah, I know Anthony Bonanza has been going to a few of those qualifiers. Shout out to him for...
I'd love to see him take it down. But let's roll through our pitch real quick. Update. Trey went and he picked Niklas in the last event. That got him the only 10 points that were awarded for the entirety of last event. And so it was originally, I believe, 8 to 20. Yeah, it was 8 to 20, and now it's 18 to 20. You got...
Oh, it was I think 10 to 18, or because you had 18 and you didn't get 8 points.
No, I had 20. Oh no, you're up here. Yes, 10 to 18, and now it's 20 to 18. Trey is ahead by 2 points. So I got honors. I'm choosing which side I wanted to get my first pick on. I chose the FPO field. So Trey got his first pick.
Yeah. So with my first pick, I am taking Ricky Wysocki to place. This man has, I think, won this event 6 times.
Yeah.
I can't think of a safer pick. So, Thomas, you'll have back-to-back.
Yeah, I'm going to go Calvin Heimberg to place and then Gannon Burr to win.
Very nice picks. And then, so for my Forge pick, I'm going to go with Big Jeremy Colling.
I like it.
He's had some solid finishes this year, and I'm excited to see what he does. And then taking down the win, I'm going to go with the guy that we said was the most consistent last year. Isaac Robinson takes it down. He's been struggling some this year. This feels like an event that he could go out and totally shred. So I'm going to take Isaac Robinson to win.
There you go. I'm going to go in, and again, our forwards picks are somebody outside the top 40 PDGA World Rankings that we think is going to finish in the top 10. On the MPO side, it's top 10. FPO, it's top 5. On the MPO, you get 3 points if it's between 6 and 10, 5 or 6 points if it's between 1 and 5. So if they finish even better, you have a chance at more points. I'm going to pick Casey White.
Ooh, Casey was having like a low-key, really good start of the season and then did not do as well at the Open in Austin. So I like that pick. I think that's a good pick.
I like watching him. He's fun. He makes good content. Going straight into the FPO side, I'm picking Kristen Tatar to win. I think, number 2 on the board. I like the opportunity at big points. I'm going to keep her at the winner instead of the podium spot.
Yeah, I'm going to play a little safer, and I'm going to take the best player in the world to place, Owen Scoggins.
There you go.
And then to win, I'm going to take the 2023 Texas State Championship winner, Sai Anand.
There you go. We all know that was an awesome storyline last year, seeing Sai take it down. A great West Side Discs representative. She's really fun to watch. Honestly, anytime you see her play, she's just smiling the whole time, making jokes.
She's going to go back-to-back. She's got a great opportunity to do it. And so, Thomas, why don't you finish up your picks?
Yeah, I'm going to go to podium. I'm going to pick Evelina Salonen, our number 3 on our power rankings. I think she can definitely do that. I think that's some easy points in my bag. And then for my forwards pick, I'm going to pick Allie Smith, who's just outside the top 20 for the FPO, which allows me to make it for a top 5 potential on the FPO field for 3 points.
And so for my forwards pick, I am taking someone that I hadn't even heard of prior to this event, but she came in 11th place last year at Texas State. I'm going to take Jill Norwick. Jill, I don't know who you are, but I have faith that you're going to get a top 5 finish this weekend.
You're going to get the job done. Moving into our last topic right here. This is one that I think you and I both were very curious about at the beginning of the season. We talked about this person. They were most recently featured in the Disc Golf magazine as Chandler Fry. We've got Chandler Kramer, who is coming out saying that he's got a multi-sponsorship deal after starting the season saying that he was going to have no sponsor.
Yep. So Chandler Kramer has signed, not just re-signed with Lone Star, but he is also signed with Clash Discs and AGL, above ground level discs, which they also recently signed Scott Withers. So they are making a move to grab some players and to get some notoriety from these solid disc golfers. But it kind of begs the question, what happened here? Because Kramer seemed super happy and super excited about being an unsponsored player as far as discs go. So what do we think happened here?
I'm confused, and I really think what's happened is that Lone Star has taken their step back from fully sponsoring players. I think we mentioned this in the podcast that we talked about sponsors, is that maybe Lone Star has put too many eggs in their basket on the Ranger team, just really pushing that. I think that was probably a bad media look overall, and they've decided to step back and do partial sponsorships, and that's why Lone Star is featured in this group. And so it's kind of funny because Chandler is I'm not going to be sponsored by Lone Star, and now is sponsored by Lone Star. So we'll see what happens. Is Lone Star still the sponsor this year for the Music City Open?
I don't know the answer to that question.
We'll find that out later, but I find it interesting. I don't know. I get the idea of multiple disc sponsors just so that you can move your money around a little bit, make a little bit extra when maybe you're not a player that's going to be on some of these top team. You're not going to be on a Discraft Tour team. You're not going to be on is it the Innova Star team? What's their, or is it the Champion team?
The Star team.
Okay, I was I think the Star is better than the Champion team.
Correct.
So it's a little unique. Does it say?
It is sponsored by Lone Star.
Okay, so maybe we can go talk to some people while we're there. I'm curious what insight we might be able to get while we're out there.
Yeah, I think that would be, we'll see if we can run into some folks, maybe even some folks that aren't as involved with Lone Star, like Josh Hofstrad. Do you know he started his own disc golf company, where he's making discs now?
What?
I think it's called Meridian Discs.
Okay.
Wanted to shout him out. He's awesome on social media.
Okay.
But
do you have any other thoughts on this Kringer situation?
No, well, yes, I do. It's interesting because Lone Star seemingly announced their team. AGL makes a little more sense just because they're a smaller company. And then Clash really hasn't announced a lot of anything with their team. They've kind of let the players make the announcements there. And so I'm interested to see how this plays out. Will we get a new in the bag from Kramer? Is he only going to be throwing these 3 brands? It's really hard to tell. And so we'll just kind of see how it plays out this season. But definitely Kramer is going an interesting route here. And we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, that's what we've got for today on our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. It would mean a lot if you subscribed to our channel, liked the video, and checked us out on social media, Instagram and TikTok.
Honestly, if you're over there, Instagram, TikTok, we'll make sure to throw those links here for you. We appreciate you guys for watching. Again, we're coming up soon to the Music City Open that we'll be excited to actually attend. I'm going to make the note again that I lost the All-Star bet. Trey's still going to give me a disc. I say give me a disc that I have to purchase to give away to one of you. So if you're at the Music City Open and you see us, the first person that notices us that's not part of one of us, like Trey can't just be like, hey, Thomas, can I have your disc? Gets a free disc from me. So make sure to reach out to us, catch us there, and I guess we'll just catch you in the next one.
Sounds good. See you
Appreciate
guys.
you guys.